Hello, it's Peggy McColl, and I want to welcome you to the Manifestation Podcast. Today's episode is going to be highlighting 13 of the best lessons that I have learned from Bob Proctor. I met Bob Proctor in January 1979, a long time ago, and I began studying his material. He's been studying success for 60 years, and he definitely is a serious student. And as far as I'm concerned, he is the best teacher on the planet. I recently released a book called Savvy Wisdom. And if you don't have this book, I highly recommend you get this book. Savvy Wisdom is a book that I wrote. It's a fiction book written as a parable. So it's a story with valuable lessons. And it's based on my life and what I learned from Bob Proctor. So the character of Savvy, S-A-V-Y, which is one of the main characters in the book, is based on Bob Proctor and his teachings. Sophie, who's the main character in the book as well, is me. And so I was very blessed to meet Bob Proctor at a very young age. And fortunately, I didn't ignore his lessons and his teachings, and I followed through. And I've learned a lot from him since that time. And the reason why I'm sharing it with you is because it has positively transformed my life in every way. So for the sake of this time that we're going to invest here together, I'm going to cover off the top 13 things, the wisdom that I've learned from Bob Proctor. And I'm going to share it with you right now. What I suggest that you do is get yourself a pen and a paper and get ready to take some notes, but also be ready to follow through. And that actually is one of the lessons. It's not one of the top 13, but let me give you a bonus. Here's what Bob said. No amount of reading, no amount of going to seminars, no amount of studying success, listening to audios, watching videos, listening to podcasts is going to bring you anything unless and until you understand it and you apply it. And this is the reason why I became a teacher of success, because I distill all of the success techniques that I've learned from more than 40 years, many years, into very simplistic understanding and application as well. So the first thing that I learned from Bob was that you cannot change the time you got out of bed this morning. Now, what does that mean, and what does that have to do with you? It means you can't change, you can't do anything about what's happened to you. Sure, you could learn from it. Excuse me. Perhaps you could experience a valuable lesson from it, but you can't go back and change anything that's occurred to you. So what I suggest is simply bless it, appreciate it, learn from it, have zero negative energy toward it, and move on. Because what you have right now is this very moment. And it's important that you stay focused in the moment. The other thing that Bob suggested, number 2, is that everything is changing. Nothing stays the same. Everything's changing. And so what does that mean? It means that either you are getting better or you're getting worse. But the great thing is you get to decide which side of that do you want to be on. Do you want to be on the side of getting better, or do you want to be on the side of getting worse? Now, I made a decision over 40 years ago to get on the side of getting better. But I'm quite certain if I hadn't met Bob Proctor, and certainly if I had not have followed his wise advice, I would never have been on the side of getting better. It would have been getting worse for me. You see, a lot of people talk about same old, but they're simply recreating more of the same that they already have. You see, you're a creative being. We're all creative beings. Now, by the way, I'm sharing with you 13 lessons, well, 14, because I gave you a bonus in the beginning, but blended throughout it is even more valuable lessons, like what I'm talking about right here. Everything is changing. So get on the side of positivity by making a decision that every single day you will be a phenomenal student. The more you learn, the more you apply, the better it goes for you. Therefore, you're then on the side of getting better. Number 3. The next one is about increasing your success, the acceleration to success. I've heard people ask Bob that question. We've spoke at many events together, and one time we're in a VIP Q&A call. It was a lunchtime thing, and someone asked Bob, I want to accelerate my results. And Bob's answer to that was increase your level of awareness. What does he mean by increase your level of awareness? To increase your level of awareness means you're studying. It means that you're actively involved in seeking a deeper level of understanding of the materials. And when you think about it, Bob Proctor has been studying success for 60 years. I've been studying success for 42 years. What are we doing? We're expanding our awareness. And the more you are a serious student and applying what you're learning, and you're disciplined in that way, the better your results are going to be. So therefore, if you would love to accelerate the results for yourself, become a very serious student. The next one, number 4, and this is actually straight out of the Bible. And it goes like this: faith, meaning faith, the emotion of belief, without works is dead. So what does that mean? You could have a lot of faith. You could be visualizing all day long. You could be focused on your goals, absolutely. But unless you move into action, unless you actually do something, it's not valuable or as valuable as it would be when you take action. So have the faith. And when you get intuitively guided, which you will through your mental faculty called intuition, ensure that you follow through by taking action. The next one is to really believe in the laws of the universe and to understand that the laws operate all the time for everyone. See, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the natural laws of the universe are in effect. And what that simply means is that the law of cause and effect, what you put out, you get back. The law of gestation, there is a period of time that will elapse before all things manifest into form. The law of polarity, there are opposites to everything. There's many of these laws that when you understand them, you'll realize that you can work in harmony with those laws. And the laws are there to support you. And the laws are not discriminating. They don't just choose who they're going to work with. The laws are available to every single person on this planet. And so when you realize that and understand the laws and study the laws, you will find that everything will get better for you. Okay, number 6. I love this one. This is a lesson. By the way, all of these lessons that I've learned from Bob Proctor may not have originated with Bob Proctor. For example, the one I just shared with you, that or the what previous 2 points ago, faith without works is dead, originated in the Bible. And Bob Proctor has studied many great teachers as well. He studied Earl Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, Dr. Joseph Murphy, Wallace D. Wattles, Raymond Hollowell. And so all the teachings that Bob Proctor is involved in are teachings that he learned from others. And of course, from applying it in his life. So number 6, this is one of my personal favorite ones. Number 6 is to leave everyone you come in contact with the impression of increase. In other words, you leave people better off from simply being in your presence. And this can be done so easily. You could smile at someone. And, I love doing that, smiling at strangers. Sometimes people think, do I know her? Is something going on? Is something on my head? Like, why is she smiling at me? But there's so many simple ways that you can leave people with the impression of increase. And I believe if you operate your life that way, by understanding that you always have an opportunity to contribute to others, to help others, it could be just helping people smile, help them laugh, help them to see things a little differently, give them some guidance, be a listening ear. There's so many different ways that you can leave people with the impression of increase. So I suggest you think about how you could do that for yourself today. Well, for others, really, but you're doing it for yourself too. Okay, number 7. Number 7 is that successful people are willing and do the things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do. For example, getting up earlier in the morning to study, or staying later in the day to complete an assignment, or making a decision to discipline yourself and do a certain activity every single day without fail, or creating an accountability partnership with someone where you're going to be very accomplishment oriented and you're going to be focused on outcomes and you're going to be really noticing that, that would be something that a successful person is willing to do. Get back up when you've fallen down and, follow through, deliver more than what's expected, bring more value to the world. A lot of unsuccessful people aren't willing to go that extra mile. I remember years ago hearing a story about a speaker who was willing to do anything to improve his ability as a professional speaker. And he became a very well-known, world-renowned speaker, professional speaker. And one time he was speaking in front of an audience of a bunch of young folks who were keen or interested in becoming professional speakers. And he was sharing a story about many, many years before, where he had been invited to speak at an event. And he was looking for any chance he could to speak at different events. And so he accepted this offer to speak, but he didn't have the money to pay for a hotel room for the night. And it was an 8-hour drive to get there. So he drove 8 hours, he delivered the keynote, he got in his car because he didn't have the funds, and it was free. He did it for free. Then he got back in his car and he drove back home without sleeping, without getting a hotel room because he didn't have the funds. But that's what he did because he felt it was necessary in the beginning to get exposure and to get speaking engagements and to become better at his speaking skill. And one of the students that was in the audience said, "I wouldn't do that." And the response that the speaker gave to him was, "Well, then you don't deserve to succeed." Because you've got to be willing to do whatever it takes, as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, of course, but that's definitely an attitude of successful people. Number eight is anything is possible when you set your mind to it. Anything is possible when you set your mind to it. You see, what happens for many people is when they start to think about something that they would love to create in their life, what happens is they start to think about something extraordinary, something they've never done before, an opportunity or an outcome that would truly stretch themselves in many different ways. So it creates discomfort, right? But what happens is if people start thinking, "Oh, I'd really love to do that," or "I'd love to accomplish that," they immediately dismiss it. Why? Because of a paradigm. A paradigm are your belief systems that are absolutely inside your subconscious mind. And they are controlling. They're controlling you. They're controlling what you say. They're controlling what you think. They're controlling how you feel. They're controlling your habits. They're controlling your behavior and are evident in your results. And therefore, you have to know that anything is possible. Anything is possible. You just have to set your mind to it. All right. Number 9 is you don't have to be a genius to be successful. Now, I think that's one of the best things I've ever heard from Bob Proctor, because I'm not a genius. I barely made it through high school and I have no formal education. And although that is the truth, I've gone on to create a very successful career. Bob Proctor as well. He went to high school, I believe, for about 2 months. And that was it. That was the extent of his high school education. And so it's not that you have to be a genius as far as intellect is concerned, or that you have to have a certain education, excuse me, or a formal education. But the truth is that anyone can accomplish anything. And there's been some people that have done extraordinary things who are definitely not considered either highly intelligent or geniuses. So if that's a belief that you've had, you can throw that one away because it simply is a false belief. All right, let's talk about number 10. This is my favorite of them all, my absolute favorite. Now, I love all the valuable lessons that I've learned from Bob Proctor, but this one has definitely stuck with me. And I believe it is the most valuable lesson that I've ever learned from Bob Proctor. And the number 10 is the following. You do not have to know how you're going to accomplish your goal. You set the goal, you get in harmony with the goal, you imagine that it's already in your life, you're acting as if, but you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. Now, that idea of you don't have to know how, that concept of not knowing how, feels extremely uncomfortable for people that are very analytical, left brainers. It's much easier for right brain, emotional people to buy into that idea because they recognize what is required is an increased level of faith, a belief in the impossible, in the invisible. You've got to believe it as if it's here now. You have to see it in your mind's eye. Your mind's eye is your imagination. This is how you manifest things into physical form, with your imagination. So you decide on what you want. You become connected to what that feels like when you have it, and understand that you will draw to you everything requisite for the fulfillment of your goal. Isn't that a valuable lesson? Absolutely. All right, well, there's 3 more. I'm going to cover off 13. So number 11, and I love this one as well. Number 11 is to become the person you desire to be. Now, here's the way I like to present this. When you sit down and you make a decision, you take a pen and some paper and you make a decision on the goal that you would love to accomplish in your life. The next thing that I suggest that you do is understand, what do you need to believe in order to have that? And who do you need to become in order to experience that result? This is really your personality, it's your persona, it's your identity, call it self-image, call it what you will. But you must become that person now and live as if that is who you are and that you've already accomplished everything that you've set your mind to. You must become the person you desire to be. Number 12. Now, this lesson, number 12, is also one of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned that has significantly impacted my results. And number 12 is the following: to live from the end. What does that mean? Live from the end. It means you're imagining, again, you're using your imagination, your mental faculty, you're imagining that you already have whatever it is that you desire in your life right now. So if I said to you, I would love for you to think about a goal that you would love to accomplish in the next short while. Think about what that goal is. Get an idea in your mind. It could be to purchase something. It could be to have something. It could be to release something. It could be to earn. Whatever that goal is, think about that goal right now. Now I'd like to imagine that it's already done. It's in your life right now. What's going on? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What has happened for you? How are you feeling now that you've already accomplished this goal? See, what you did in a matter of a split second is you went to a place in your mind, in your imagination, you went there, a place in the future, and you imagined that it was the present. And this is truly what you're doing. You're taking future memories, you're bringing them into the present. Now, why would that be so valuable? Because this is how you manifest. You manifest with your feelings and with your thoughts and your feelings. So if you're thinking as if you've already accomplished what you desire, and when you are feeling as if you've already accomplished what you desire, you will manifest it. You will attract it into your life. So I have right on my keyboard a note that I taped on my keyboard, and it says, I only think from my goal. I only feel from my goal. And what that means is I'm living from the end. So regardless of what's going on or not going on, you don't look at or stare at your present conditions, get emotionally involved in what's there now, and expect a different result. That's insanity. What you do is you actively use, daily you use your imagination to connect to the outcome as if it's here now. And that just feels so good. And when you're doing that, you are in perfect harmony with what you desire. And then at that point, my friend, you are attracting anything and everything that's required for you to manifest that. And you will manifest it, provided you continue to live from the end. All right. Number 13, we're going to wrap it up with number 13. There is no limit to what you can accomplish. Most people are only expressing a tiny fraction of what's possible for them. There's literally no limit to who you can become and what you can do and what you can create in your life. It's only thinking makes it so. So when you expand in your thinking by studying more, by expanding your awareness, you start to discover that you do have this incredible power within you, but you only experience that expression of that greater power by stretching yourself. Another lesson I learned from Bob is the following. When you set a goal, like a stretch goal, a goal that you have no idea how you're ever going to accomplish, you don't know how you're going to accomplish it, but you set it anyway, the benefit of you accomplishing that goal is not for what you get. The benefit is for who you become in the process. Isn't that incredible? Now, if you are not stretching yourself right now, I suggest that you do. If you don't have goals set right now, I suggest that you set some goals. And if you're the kind of person who would really love to experience a quantum leap, join me in Skipping Levels today. Go straight to skippinglevels.com and get yourself registered, and I'm going to help you. You see, I've been studying with Bob Proctor for well over 40 years. Bob's been studying success for over 60 years. And the truth is, life gets better and better and better. And I know Bob's experienced quantum leaps in his life. I've experienced quantum leaps in my life, and I would love for you to experience quantum leaps as well. So make sure you check out Skipping Levels. So I want to wrap up this manifestation podcast by inviting you to listen to this again. If you didn't take notes the first time you listened, go back, take some notes. But more importantly, think about how you will apply this understanding in your life right now to make a positive contribution in your life. Because everything that Bob has taught me has positively and powerfully changed my life for the better. And it truly gets better and better and better. And that's my wish for you. So thank you for being with me here in the Manifestation Podcast. If you love our podcast, leave us a 5-star review and please share it with your friends. I'll see you again in another episode.